Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is a video that's happening thanks to Joseph, who is the father of little Jack here, who we lost a little while ago, and did a tribute video to Jack on the channel. If you haven't seen it, you need to go check that out, and just be aware that there was a little dude as awesome as this guy. I mean, look, he's got Tool t-shirt on, for Christ's sakes, throwing up the horns. That's Jack. And Joe, he didn't ask me to show his Instagram page here, but just so you know who we're talking about, that's Joe. He calls himself the Fat_Batman, collector of Hot Toys, comic books, Batman, DC, Marvel, Boba Fett, and other Star Wars related things. That's right, all Toys of Arkham follows him, 1 6-figure Focus, and 10 others. So get over to Joe's page and just say hi. And I know that Jack is watching, and I'm going to do my best to showcase his favorite Batman here properly. But Joe, thank you so much for sending this custom head sculpt my way. It's not a cheap piece. I don't know how much it goes for, but I can't imagine it's a custom head sculpt, for Christ's sakes. You know, it's gorgeous. It's got an articulated head, so you can turn left and right. But I'll do a comparison between this custom head and the Hot Toys one, which I have here as well. And I've repainted his suit recently, and he has a custom cape made by the same guys who did the head sculpt here on Real Toys on Instagram. But Joe, thank you, and thank you to Joe's family. I know that Jack would want you to be happy, I know that for sure. That's the first thing he'd say to you is, I want to see you happy, I want to see you smiling, I want to see you getting on with your lives. And I know I'm just sitting here feeling like an idiot saying that because I'm not going through it, but you know he wants you to be happy. And yeah, he's watching. So Jack, thank you for enjoying my channel, little dude, and I hope I can do this figure justice for you, buddy. And thanks again to Joe and his family for this amazing, incredible, awesome gift. Now, one thing I thought straight away, or wondered about, when I was made aware that this amazing custom head sculpt was coming to me, I wondered if I might be able to interchange the mouth plates from the Hot Toys head sculpt, which is here. And I can tell just by looking at it that the answer to that is no. It's just different dimensions. This is a bit more narrow, whereas this definitely has more width on the mouth, sort of chin area, all that, all the skin section showing under the mask. It's just more of it. But very, very strong likeness I'm getting from the sculpt here. It's really nicely painted too. You can see the stubble kind of sculpted in. Eyes look really good too. I like that they seem to be slightly looking up. I got some outdoor footage for you because that's really the ultimate way to just show you what the deal is here between these two. So we'll cut to that in a second and just basically put them side by side and show you in the natural light how they look together. So check that out and we'll come back. want to get you a close-up. There's a nice squint to the eyes. You don't want him looking wide-eyed, surprised Batman like Hot Toys often do. It's usually the custom guys who have to come along and give us that much needed focused look in the eyes with a slight squint. You can see that little mole that's supposed to be there, and Unreal Toys have done a good job. You can see it just in the far left corner. But I love the texture of where the stubble is. Lips look good. Dimensions of the cowl look really good, nice and thick, good bit of width to it. Alright, now I've repositioned the lights a little bit just to really show it to you. I know we've seen it in the natural light with the true light footage, but this is how it looks with my desk lights here, kind of right on him. Got this big one here is just pointing pretty much straight at him, and the one to the side here is kind of getting him from behind, giving us that nice kind of glow around the edges, plus the lights from the ceiling. And one down here to catch his eyes and make them glint a little bit. But I have to say, I love the jet black paint on the cowl, and with the repainted suit that I did recently. There's a video on the channel about that, folks, so rather than asking me about it in the comments here, you can just check out the video I did. Go to my channel and click on videos and scroll down a little bit. It wasn't that long ago. Yeah, the repainted suit makes a hell of a difference. I just used regular old grey acrylic paint. I was only just lightly dry brushing over the surface, so I don't really worry about cracks and stuff. I've noticed nothing like that so far. It's been all good. But it's very mild dry brushing, but it got the effect I wanted. The custom cape is also made by Unreal Toys, the same guys who made the head. And that's still my favourite cape for this figure. So this is something I've never been able to do with this version of Batman before, and that's turn his head to the side. It's a really cool feature of the custom head sculpt here. Now in the movie it's one solid, sculpt. The neck and head are one cowl, there's no separation. But obviously there is here in order to get the articulation. But from the front and from the side it doesn't look too bad. I'll show you the side in a little while. But it is nice to be able to move his head around, because he was able to move it a fair bit on the set of the film. There's a Cosplay Chris video explaining it all pretty well. Check that out for more info on the original, the actual cowl that Ben Affleck was wearing in Dawn of Justice. Sits nice and flush too, the kind of tag bit that sticks out at the bottom of the neck there leading onto the chest. In this case, with the custom head, it's a solid sculpt, so it doesn't really move at all. Whereas on the Hot Toys one, that was quite a soft, rubbery, sculpt, so it would, you could heat it up and try and move it around a little bit, get it to lay more flush on his chest, but it was not easy to do. With this, it's just sculpted to lay in the right position. Although don't forget, I have done the beef mod on my figure here. He's been padded out with cotton pads. That's on the channel as well. Little tutorial on that. So that may affect the way the custom head and neck rests on my body because of all the extra padding I've put in there, but it seems to be lining up pretty well and looking pretty good on camera here. Look at that. That is truly awesome. Alright, now here is the side profile. You can see where the separation happens there, but if you line it upright, because there is a fair bit of movement between the head and neck piece, you can really move it around pretty much however you like, and you're able to line it up nice and sharp like this. I think it looks really good. Very accurate. I think it really does look like Ben Affleck under the cowl. the nice texture to the actual sculpt of the cowl and the neck as well. And if this is the only video on YouTube of this custom head sculpt, I want to make sure I show you as much of it as I can from different angles, so I'll just move around here. It really does look good. Yeah, we'll get a look at the figure on the rotating base, and it's only at the back and the side profile you can really see that it's two separate pieces for the head and neck. I do wonder if Unreal Toys give an option where there's no articulation in the neck, it's one solid piece, but with this much improved likeness of theirs. It's Ben Affleck from BVS. I'm glad to have the one with the articulation, because when I got him on display with my particular kind of setup, you're only ever going to see him from the front or slightly to the side like this, so it's never going to be an issue. And remember, I do have a hell of a lot of light coming at him from different directions right now, so it is kind of making those joints more obvious. But I think the proportions on it are fantastic, and I do like the fact that I can now turn his head, because I don't like to leave this guy in anything too dynamic pose wise on the shelf. It's usually just subtle little changes here and there, so being able to adjust the position of his head does help me out a lot with this piece. But with the beef mod, the custom cape, and this new head and neck, I think he looks sufficiently beefy and intimidating. Beautiful cape as well, just draped so nicely. All those natural folds just happen naturally when I put the cape over his shoulders. Chucky keeps trying to steal the camera's focus. I might need to move him. You see that every time? Like, hey Chucky. Alright, now here is the figure in the amazing diorama by Cult Creations. That's Glenn Page, my good friend. Done an amazing job on this, and this is another figure that just suits it so well. Really brings the figures to life when you put them in this thing. Now, sorry I'm not going too crazy with the actual poses for this figure. I will flash up on the screen if you want to see. Before I did any of the mods, it was basically a stock figure, but I did do a pose session with him after I did the initial review. So check out that pose session, because I did go crazy with that one. Had him with the rifle that he comes with and everything. He did look amazing holding onto that rifle, looking down the scope. That was a hell of a pose for this one. I can only imagine how that would look now with the custom cape and the new head sculpt and the repainted suit. But I find that whenever I do anything too dynamic with this figure, I have trouble getting him into a natural stance again. It just takes a while to do it for me personally. I'd keep going back thinking, no, he doesn't look quite right. He looks a bit awkward the way he's standing. I have to keep going back, and it could be to do with how I padded him out, made him beefier. Maybe that's having an effect on it, but he looks so natural, and I like the natural stance, and that's how he has to go back on the shelf when the video is done. So you can always go back and check out my older videos on this piece for the really dynamic stuff. Alright folks, I'm going to wrap up the video and finish up by saying again a massive thank you to Jack, Joseph, his family, and every one of you out there who's ever tuned in and shown some love. But Joe, you did an incredible thing sending this my way. It has just vastly improved a figure that I was already happy with, but now I literally love it. I might go to sleep with it tonight. There's nothing kinky. Stop it, behave yourself. I'm talking about just have it in the room with me so I can look at it when I'm lying on my bed. And it'll be the last thing I can look at before I turn off the lights and go to Noddington. It's just absolutely beastly and awesome. So I definitely recommend you get in touch with Unreal Toys. They're on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. They do plenty of custom head sculpts. I have the Batman Begins one and now this one, and I highly recommend them. A lot of passion's gone into making sure this is as accurate as possible. It is definitely a big improvement over the Hot Toys head. But let me know what you think in the comments. Always good to hear from you. Drop a like on the video for me, that's important. It will help more people find this video, and then they can discover this custom head sculpt and maybe they might want to get it. So hit that like button, subscribe, check me out on Instagram. I will be putting up plenty of pictures from this session, and I absolutely love it. Let me just zoom out here and let you just see that. I love the way that beautiful brassy gold contrasts against the newly repainted suit. I mean, it all just hits right now, because before the stock figure had a very dark paint job on the suit. It just wasn't movie accurate, and as soon as you repaint the suit with a lighter grey tone, it makes the bat symbol on the chest jump out, it makes the belt pop more, everything just looks better. The cape contrasts beautifully against it, the jet black against the grey, and it's just worked out fantastic. It looks absolutely amazing. Now, one thing that's kind of tickling the back of my brain, like that little finger, is saying, remember what you did to the Asmus Toys Ash Williams head sculpt with just the tiniest bit of black wash in the areas where there would be stubble, and because the stubble was so well sculpted into this actual sculpt, I think the tiniest little bit of black wash around that stubble area would really bring that out. It's enough, but I want him a little bit gruffer, I think, in the future. So I'm not saying I'm doing it 100%, but you know, you're rolling your eyes now saying, of course you're going to do it, Dean, which you're probably right. But yeah, I might just add the tiniest bit of shadowing to the stubble area just to make it a little bit more gruff. But it's not necessary, but it's just personal preference. That might happen in the future. So keep it locked, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks again, Joe, and your family, and Jack. It's an absolute honor. Thank you so much.